what actually attracted you to Islam? Or you tell us your story in your words, better, easy.
All right. It's usually best I start from the beginning.
Yeah.
As I like to think we are all reverts to Islam. We have, even if we're born into it, as me and our brothers and sisters here are, we all come to Islam on our own path. And it's all very unique, our personal relationship with Allah. For myself, I come from a large family. I'm the oldest of 6 boys. I have a wonderful family. However, I'm not from a very religious background in the family sense, so I wasn't actually brought up in religion. But on occasion, we used to attend, when I was younger, the Salvation Army Church. And that's where my beginnings of finding God, Allah, was. Ever since I've come to know Allah, and I'll say Allah as I know Him now, so I don't use the term God anymore. Ever since I came to know Him as a young boy, I've always strived to have a personal relationship. Direct relationship. When I was a kid, I used to walk along the street and I used to have little conversations, as a child does. A child's love for Allah is very pure. But as I found with a lot of religion, growing up in churches back then, there was always a lot of contradictions according to how I naturally knew Allah and according to how they were teaching about Allah. For example, I had a very big problem right from the beginning about the Trinity. The Trinity being the belief in God, Allah, Isa, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost are one. So it's 3 in 1. And I never ever could be convinced ever that how could 3 separate beings be one being all at the same time? How could Allah be all around us yet be in one man the whole time? How could Allah come down from immortality to mortality to perfection to imperfection and allow Himself to be killed? Allow man to kill God, Allah. How could that happen? I used to have Christian ministers who would proselyte with me, who used to try and convince me to be part of their organisation. He used to say, Allah is Jesus, Isa, and the Holy Ghost are like an egg. It said Allah being the eggshell, Isa being the yolk, and the Holy Ghost being the egg white. And I would say, but then Allah's not an egg, or the water analogy. And it's just something that I always had a very personal relationship with Allah, so I knew it was impossible. Even reading the Bible, when Isa used to perform his miracles, he'd always say, not my will be done, but thy will be done. So he's recognizing the Father instantly. All the time, it's just everything contradiction. My life changed from when I was 13 years old, when I became a Mormon. And Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is a Christian religion, but it's a very different form of Christianity. It's a very strict form of Christianity. They believe in that in order to be a true Christian, you must live the word, you must preach the word, and you must be an example. So it's all about living a life of, like the prophets, trying to perfect, trying to be on the path of perfection like Allah. So I was always taught, as from a young age, all about the prophets of Allah. Going from Adam to Enoch, Noah, Ibrahim, Isaiah, Suleiman, Isa. But being Isa, we believed he was a direct son of Allah sent on earth. One thing that was very unique in my religion that separates, my old religion I should say, separates us from the rest of a lot of Christianity was the fact that we believed that my religion was the only true, pure form of Christianity on earth. We actually believed we were the actual Church of Jesus Christ.
No innovation, no bid'ah.
That's right. They believed that through a young boy named Joseph Smith in New York, they believed that God and Isa, or Allah and Isa, appeared to him after his prayer and revealed to him that he was going to be a prophet and they were going to reinstate the Church of Jesus, Isa, back on earth again. So we believe that our religion is the ancient religion that was placed back on earth because it had been taken away with the killing of the prophets and resulting in the death of Isa. So we used to believe without question this was the only true church on the entire earth, and that we also, from the founder Joseph Smith, that they believed was a prophet, there's continuation of prophets all the way until now. They believe they have a prophet right now by the name of Thomas S. Monson. I put my whole life into this. I became a missionary for my church where I went actively preaching to the communities. I preached about how I found Allah, about my personal love for Him, and about how I wanted to share that love for everyone else. But my main problems were following this faith was several. I felt like I was always pretending that I had to put a mask on every day. That I had to convince myself that this was the truth. There was always something not quite right. There was always something so fake about it. I always, every day, would pray to Allah to come closer to Him. I'd always pray to Him every day to take away a pain for me that had been affecting me my whole life ever since I was 8 years old. I prayed to Him to take that away every single day of my life. I even got to a point where I remember one day crossing a busy highway and I almost threw myself in front of a truck because I felt so dark and so unloved and so black inside. My prayers were never answered. I always felt like I was the most
lost soul.
Lost, yeah.
You feel lots of people are suicidal at young age?
Yes, I do feel that way.
So did you leave the church after that? Did you feel that's not my part of my life, that's not what I want to do?
I left the church 3 years ago, not by any official means, but I just stopped going. I was actually almost kicked out of my religion for things that they didn't agree with, and I had a meeting in front of the church council of all the regional leaders. I wasn't thrown out, but I was put on probation, which means I couldn't do certain things.
Tell us who introduced you to Islam.
All right, so for 3 years, I have been living my own life, trying to find myself again, but I never did. So, how I found Islam.
That's interesting.
I was hearing a lot of negative things about Islam through friends, work colleagues, through the media. Not that I watch a lot of media anyway. But I was hearing constant negative things. I met some really lovely Muslims I didn't get to know personally, but from what I could see from the outside through my political, because I'm a political activist myself for pro-Palestine movements, I saw a lot of good examples from wonderful Muslims, and I would hear all the negative things, and I thought, this can't be right. You can never judge a group of people based on any generalisation. You simply can't do that. You can judge someone individually, but you can't generalise, and I knew that for myself. So I decided after hearing this negative stuff, I'm going to learn about Islam. I want to know about Islam in its truthful form, right from the source. But I'm also, part of me, I didn't want to admit it, was curious. I wanted to find another path in life. But I didn't think I was going to become a Muslim myself. So I went into Google and I typed in 3 words: learning about Islam. I found an organisation, ISNA, the My Centre, and I emailed Brother Murad Selik, and we sent a few emails, and we eventually met about a week or 2 later. So I just asked him, I just remember walking to the mosque for the first time and...
Afraid?
I was afraid. I wasn't afraid that something bad was going to happen.
Lots of terrorists.
It was just a very unfamiliar environment, unfamiliar people. You don't know what to expect when you haven't been to somewhere different.
You had phobia.
I had phobia.
You had phobia.
But I wasn't scared of Muslims as such, but it just, I didn't know what to expect at all.
MashaAllah.
So I sat down for a couple of hours and just asked a lot of general questions that a Westerner would probably ask a Muslim. I asked him if I could have a copy of the Quran because I wanted to read it. And the brother gave it to me, and I said, "How much do I owe you?" And he said, "No, this is a gift. This is what we Muslims do." I said, "No, I have to pay you." He goes, No, we give gifts. You never say no to a gift from a Muslim."